There are roughly 119,740,000 kilometers between the planets Venus and Mars.
Somewhere in the middle lies Earth.
That's one small step for man,
I'm the boss.
That's a gaslighter.
Love bombing.
Narcissist. Homemaker.
Deal breaker.
one giant leap for mankind.
If he wanted to, he would.
5 signs of avoidant attachment.
You wouldn't consider men and women equal.
Houston, we've had a problem.
Join us in the space between Venus and Mars.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the space between Venus and Mars. I'm Chris.
I'm Jessie. So today we're going to kind of dive into a topic that kind of came about from something that happened in my real life. I went over to a friend that is a boy.
Okay.
And I was over at his place and he had a show. He was like playing a show in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a show called Kill Tony.
Yes.
And I had never, ever, ever, ever heard of this in my entire life. I don't know who that man is. I don't know what the premise of the show was. And in that moment, I found myself being so confused and having that boy explain what the show and the concept was to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then I, it was on in the background, whatever. I was so confused listening to it. It seems like a very by men, for men show.
In what way?
And well, the jokes were not particularly kind about women,
Mm-hmm.
women violence, women's appearances, etc., etc. But then I turn over and look at my friend and I'm like, do you know who Charlie XCX is? He looks at me and he goes, no, who's that? I go, look at me. You don't know who Charlie XCX is? And he goes, no. And then the Grammys were on that night. And then I was like, that's Charlie XCX. That's Charlie XCX. That's who she is. And he goes, oh, it's a girl. It's not a man. And I go, no. And then it occurred to me, I go, oh my goodness, our algorithms are completely different. Like our media silos are different.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're going to be talking about today. The different media silos that men and women are in.
Yeah.
And it is kind of complicated, and it's a little bit more complicated these days than men just like sports and looking at girls.
Right. It used to be you just turned over to Spike TV if you were a man and you just watched that.
Right. And girls would watch what? Entertainment News
Yes, yeah.
or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I think the burden of discussing this as us two is that we're only two people. And
we're just two people.
And the funny thing about things now is that, like, I don't think there's just two media silos. There's an infinite number of media silos.
Right.
I'm in the media silo where I both know Charlie XCX and I know Kill Tony, but I only know people who are hypercritical of Kill Tony. So,
oh, you don't have any your silo isn't like, this is such a great medium to explore comedy and what's funny.
No.
Get to know men's stories.
No, they're not really interested in uplifting those men's voices. They're very interested, in talking about how offensive it is, which, debatable. But there's so much to unpack here with this topic because, I mean, I do think that even beyond before, when it was like programming that was very much built around demographics and catering to demographics and stuff like that. Now with algorithms and such, there is this other incentive on top of it all, which is to keep people engaged, potentially outraged, or incensed into responding or reacting to what is being served to them, which I think is this other element that like I don't think people really picked up on as far as like the sort of subtle shift that happened when we went from like airwaves to like the digital realm and how that's shaped the way that we consume content, which I think ultimately pushes people further and further into those silos that keep them separated from each other.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking a lot about feminist TikTok,
Yeah.
manosphere, another thing we always circle back to. I mean,
Right.
I think there's a lot of stuff in these silos now, particularly relating to gender, I think, that are always pushing on the expectations and the images that we have of the opposite sex and gender.
Yeah, it's reactionary, right? Like it's like so polarizing, so no room for nuance. And I think that's the issue with the algorithm
Mm-hmm.
is because it rewards polarizing statements and like it rewards rage bait essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yikes.
I mean, I think about that all the time as far as like the amount of stuff now that will go viral and then you go to, click on it or comment on it and then you see that like all of the comments are just people talking about how much they hate the content or they hate what's being said or whatever. I think that there is this kind of, I don't know, an economy of rage that is pushing people further and further apart.
Yeah, that's really sickening. And what's crazy is like there are governments that are trying to hold these tech companies accountable for that sort of thing because the truth is like it didn't have to be like that.
No, no.
Like we could have lived in a universe where social media the algorithm could have just rewarded or could have redirected you to like just more good. Like you could have trained the algorithm to be better.
Yeah.
Or just like, oh, this person's sad, so let's give them like happier content. But instead it's like it like keeps feeding into itself. So it's like, oh, this person's sad, let's keep giving them sad content.
Right. Because the person they're tracking your eyes and they see that you're staring at the sad content. So the only way to keep you engaged still is keep feeding you sad content.
How would they track your eyes?
What do you mean? How they track? There's a camera in the front of your phone.
The camera's on?
If you gave the app permission to use your cameras, even if
they're tracking where your eyes go.
Yes, Jess. Yes, Jesse.
I'm being serious.
Yes, I'm being dead serious. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I mean, again, it depends on the app and what the permissions are you give to it. But that's what the TikTok algorithm is trained on, is the fact that it knows how long your eyes linger on posts, even if you do the slight hesitation before you swipe to the next one. That's how it feeds it. And it knows on a hyper specific level what is the most engaging content for you.
Mm-hmm. I did know this.
Yeah.
I'm not playing dumb or anything. I did know this. I just like, I guess in my head, I'm just always like, oh no, they know how long you stay on the content and they're tracking the seconds and like the movement in your finger, but not like actually tracking your eyes.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I mean, it's one thing if you're on a video, but like you turned away because you're talking to your friend or something like that.
Right. That's how
they
know that?
Yeah.
No. Really? I'm being serious.
I am being serious as well.
What I do find super interesting, though, I will say, is like, and this is where the algorithm really just, I find so interesting, is like these men, and we talked about this a little on the show, or I definitely have mentioned it before, whereas like these men who are influencers, who are hunky and talk about like how men need to be better boyfriends and husbands and, you know, change their life and whatever, like doing the work of like the unicorn or being a unicorn, right?
Sure.
Like not being this hyper masculine, whatever. And the majority of their followers and the people in the comments are women.
Well, but do you think that's just because that's what the comments I would want to feed you at the top?
Well, I go scrolling. I go scrolling.
I see.
And I try and find a man like, are men actually looking at this content? Like scrolling. I'll say this. Before you and I went on this journey of starting this show, I was obviously very interested in this topic and just kind of doing some like curiosity scrolling, curiosity, whatever.
Sure.
So I would look on some of these men's pages and I would see who they're following. Then I would see who they're following. And then I would see who they're following, you know? And it's super, super fast.
These are people that you're interested in?
No.
Or these are people that you just came across on your feed?
People that came across on my feed.
I see.
Whether I was just you know, maybe my phone. I know that they're definitely listening to me all the time. That is a fact. The eyes was a little, took me a second to process.
Sure.
But yeah, like things would pop up. There's this one, and it would be like interesting stuff, like weird, not like weird, but like, you know, Instagram has all kinds of influencers of all kinds of things. So there was this one guy that I was looking into, and he was like the sexpert. Sex expert. Yeah. He was like this sexpert, and he has like this long hair, like whatever. He's like a tall, hunky man, like, you know, whatever. And, you know, he's followed by men and women alike or whatever. His whole thing is like, you know, if you want to be more sexual, like you have to have a space of protectionness to let the feminine open into your masculinity and like whatever. Which like agreed. Sure. So I was just like, okay, so who does he follow? Because a lot of men did seem to follow his content too. So it's like, okay, this seems pretty like, what is this guy like? Who is he following? And a lot of it was, again, like manosphere coded, like stoicism.life or whatever, or that's a big pillar of the boys. The boys that follow other boys, those boys are following stoicism, are following like Christian lifestyle, you know, like, like, I don't want to say it. And listen, I was a part of this community. I'll say it, like Brazilian jiu-jitsu things, like BJJ, very big. Like how to be a man, whatever. Like how to get buff, like workout accounts.
Was this a turn off once you saw all that?
No, it wasn't a turn off. I just was like, I was just looking into those accounts. And I was just found it really interesting because it's like, okay, you're preaching kind of more equity and openness between, or like harmony between the genders, but then you're still following accounts and listening to rhetoric that is against harmony or like keeping the patriarchy in its place sort of thing.
Yeah. I think that the follower list, I think you can definitely go down a rabbit hole on. I know back in the good old days when I was on Twitter,
R.I.P.
the number of times some poor D-list celebrity would get canceled for the accounts they'd follow and stuff like that. I would be always fascinated by how it would play out. Like there was a whole thing with Sean Baker where everyone was coming to cancel him because he was following, I think it was like libs of TikTok on Twitter and stuff like that. And I mean, like, I think there's a lot to unpack there as far as like, he's probably like casting movies from there. He's probably doing like on the ground anthropological research. There's like so many reasons you could be following the account beyond just
right.
I fully endorse all of the content on this page.
Right.
But it's really, I think that I think sometimes people want to, I don't know, put things into an easy black and white, like an endorsement or a complete rebuttal of this thing.
Yeah.
And I just think that the visibility of this stuff and it being served up to people doesn't mean that they all have to take the onus for it all, as far as like, I don't know. That's part of the darkness of this moment, I think.
Yeah.
Is people getting sucked into these rabbit holes of like, incel movements, QAnon, all of this stuff where you start out just being like, oh, I'm curious about
Any curiosity is like curiosity killed the cat in this scenario for so much of us.
Mm-hmm. And so, I have a hard time shutting people down. I've seen I've seen some friends, I've seen family, I've seen people that have struggled with like, how to break out of that stuff, because, once you're in, it's kind of, again, it just keeps getting fed back to you.
There's this YouTube creator called Pop Culture Detective, and he made this really interesting short. I don't think he made a full video about it. Maybe he did, but I was watching his short on it about how apparently Pixar had canned a project that was about just like femme coded characters that were like very a wide range of depiction of what femininity and womanhood could be like.
Mm-hmm.
But then they canned the project because they're like, this isn't not going to appeal to boys. Like boys are not going to watch this,
Sure.
like whatever. And he was saying how that's really dangerous because we actually need more content that like boys can watch that make women seem more human. And he gave the example of like Turning Red and Steven Universe and how those do a really great job of kind of like humanizing women.
Mm-hmm.
And, men have the issue of seeing women as like completely different species, whereas like, and, where it was like women see men as more like, oh, people that are just dumb women.
Right. Yeah.
So,
speaking to that, Turning Red was the first movie that I think was like fully directed by a woman at Pixar.
Mm-hmm.
And their whole, how long they've been around, like 30 years or so, 30, 40 years. And like, they tried it before with Brave, and halfway through the production, they're like, no, this isn't relatable enough. We need to replace you with a man. And they replaced Brenda Chapman with a guy. And it's like,
whoa.
Yeah. I think there's always been this, within, if we're talking about media in specific, there's always been this reticence, or reluctance to let women tell their stories. And then even then, once they start telling their stories, then you're pigeonholed into only telling stories about the female experience, and explicitly from like a very gendered perspective, which I think is like probably got to be really frustrating.
Yeah.
For creators.
Yeah. Yeah. Even just Turning Red, like it's supposed to be like a metaphor for getting your period.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that how we break out of these echo chambers we're in, I think, is just gonna be.
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I really don't. Unless
this is a zero solution episode.
Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, like, unless we pressure, like this seems so, and I don't even think it seems nihilistic or whatever, but like, we kind of have to. My very like blue-blooded Democrat way of saying this is like
Pokemon go to the polls.
Yeah, like pressure your Congress people, right? Mm-hmm. Your local Congressperson to, put pressure on these tech companies to like really think about the health of the public and pressure them back into like, there's real studies on how this stuff is not good for our health and like equally terrible, like smoking cigarettes or whatever. It's causing like real health concerns.
Yeah. And they
So
just had the first court settlement.
right, exactly. So like pressure them back into a system where it's timeline based, where the algorithm doesn't so heavily like encourage so much rage bait and
Mm-hmm.
like make that so profitable. But then, the other side of that is like, which I know is really hard because we're all fucking addicted to our phones, but like use your phone less.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally just use your phone less.
Yeah.
Which honestly, there has been, the numbers are showing like people are like, I think Instagram for the first time or something is like declining in its accounts being made or something.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I'd have to look that up for sure and like
Mm-hmm.
definitely get the numbers on that. But like people are starting to revolt from social media a little bit more.
Oh, for sure.
So I mean, you have the movement of like these people that have like dumb phones and yeah, just like people who are Gen Z or whatever, and they'll just have like their iPod and a flip phone and like a map or whatever to know how to get around or something. Like it's hard though, because especially like the traditional media is dying at
Mm-hmm.
like such a rapid rate. Like
Yeah.
I was like moving stuff around in my apartment and I have like old issues of Bitch magazine. And it was like one of the only independently women owned media companies. And they went out
Mm.
of business. I think post COVID really did them, like COVID really did them in. But I was a huge Bitch fan, like subscriber. Um, and like I had physical magazines that I would like go and read and like read all the issues and whatever. And they would get mailed to me and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And, um, I didn't need to look at my phone to like get that, and so now it's like I have to look at my phone if I'm gonna listen to a podcast or I'm gonna get my news or whatever. And it's like, okay, well, the Instagram app is only a click away, social media is only a click away, or TikTok or whatever.
Right.
So I don't know. I say use your phone less, but I'm like, is that realistic? I don't think it is. I think it's like our phones are like a very important tool for us to like function today.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what the answer is. I guess this is a zero solution episode, but yeah.
But awareness is, I think, an important tool,
Yeah.
even if it feels hard at times. You had sent me a media consumption trend report that I
Yeah.
found pretty interesting. Gen Z most likely to agree that they consume too much media at 66%, which
Wow. 66% of people think they consume too much media.
and that's Gen Z. So that's that Gen
Right.
Z, the generation who has been raised on this stuff, are the people that are the most concerned about media consumption, which I think is really interesting.
Well, you know what? One of my really good friends was saying this the other day. She was like, there's so much information that's being flooded my way. And she's like, I can't do a thing about any of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She's like, so why? She's like, I understand the need to feel informed, but it's like, I'm getting information and I can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
It is kind of, you feel like hopeless,
I mean, yeah, it's a bit of a mind fuck, modern civilization in that way.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where I think, to bring it all back to like, kind of our mission, I guess, is like it really is hard because all of it's kind of like numbing our nervous systems, and we just feel like so discouraged in terms of like dating and stuff. It seems like men are trying to grasp in the past, you know, to where they did feel like maybe they had more control, and women are like, well, I'm just removing myself from the conversation completely. Like how many women are just choosing to be single and whatever. And, a couple weeks ago we talked about trad wives and like I get it. Like, you wanna find a something where you can just slip into a ritual and dissociate from all the information you're inundated with because it feels impossible to make a decision sometimes about anything. So it's like, why not just slip into a state where all of it's already kind of decided for you? And I mean, there's plenty of people and plenty of podcasts that have said this already and like come to the same conclusion. Like we're not saying anything novel here.
Sure.
But it is kind of sad.
Yeah, it is.
It is sad. But I mean, like you said, like I think awareness is important because people are making a lot of money off of the radicalization, a lot of the algorithm, and wielded correctly, it's done great, for people economically. Like I think that they have really people have started whole businesses and changed their whole lives
Mm-hmm.
from knowing how to harness the algorithms on certain platforms, right? Like think
Yeah.
of like someone like Addison Rae, who now is a pop star, and all she just started is doing cute dance videos. She's a dancer or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I honestly did not know that. And that's very valuable information to know.
You knew that she started on TikTok.
No. I didn't. Honestly, the thing I was just,
You didn't know Addison Rae started on
I'm
TikTok?
sure if you went back like, 5 years or whatever, and then we're like, this person that I showed you that video of, that's Addison Rae. I'd be like, oh, okay. But I've always wondered about that. That makes sense because I was always, I've like heard her songs. I'm just like, okay, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's again the namesake of this episode.
Yeah.
Not in my media silo. Are you kidding me? I would only watch her dance videos. That's like the first thing that pops up when you open TikTok for the first time.
Interesting.
Yeah. She
Wow.
was a big dance girly.
Okay.
Anyway,
Sure.
that's besides the
Yeah.
point. The point is that like, I think there are people that it's created a great opportunity. And that is what's so insidious about freaking social media is that like if you can harness it correctly, you can make a killing.
Mm-hmm.
You can, but it requires you to have zero nuance, go
Mm-hmm.
into rage bait, basically have people scandalize yourself and scandalize other people in the process almost
Sure.
to really kind of make a mark on the internet.
I mean, yeah. Think about how many,
That is
even
something.
just within like the reality world, how many people have kind of used scandal to project themselves into like virality and fame.
Yeah. I think that because of the way that the algorithm is set up and because of how we know exactly how it works, I do think that that's why people
Mm.
should have more pause when there's a very popular video about how to date. When a guy does this, when he does this, and this, that, and the third, similar for the boys.
Mm-hmm.
When there's a very popular thing that's very viral and it's like, girls only this, girls only that, women only this, females. That's my thing that I hate the most when boys are like, females,
You hate being referred to as a female.
absolutely. I'm like not a dog or I'm a human being. I'm a woman. There's a word for that. So anyway, like females, like da da da, like everyone keeps talking about like we need to have more media literacy. We need to have more media literacy. pause and think, like, is this video or is this person saying this because it's really true? Or is this person saying this because they know that this is going to get them, this is like a more of a radical thing, and this is going to get them more likes and more views and more comments. And, you know, is this person just making money off of me and taking advantage of my insecurities and unsuredness in life?
Hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's the spell. Like when you hear it, it sounds so, oh my gosh, like
I mean, they're
they're
just,
right. They're right.
yeah. Yeah. Or even on the opposite end of that, of like the stuff that's, going back to, I guess, the beginning of like, being offensive, it kind of hijacks your nervous system in a way of
Yeah.
like putting people on edge. Or like, I was thinking of in the Manosphere doc where they're talking about, how he'll make like jokes about like races or like Jewish people or stuff like that. And he'll just say that because like it gets reactions, and that's the
Yeah.
important thing. Or
Yeah.
when they go up and beat up on these people in the street and stuff like that. Like there's stuff
Oh boy. Yeah.
that, is just outside of our rational brains and their way of perceiving things and thinking about them, that they're taking advantage of there. And I think that that's the weird thing about it, is like, I don't even know if it used to be better, because
The
like,
portrayals of men and women.
yeah, in
No.
media, I don't know if it's
I
ever
think
been good.
I think it's gotten better in like the corporate world, quote
Sure.
unquote. Like I
Mm-hmm.
think in like the mainstream broadcast world, I think it's gotten better. Like now we see like, you know, people being doctors that are women on screen, and people being police officers and all these sorts of things. I think in like these big shows, and I think like traditional media, i.e. movies, TVs, books.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yes.
We have come a long way,
Mm-hmm.
but the silos are crazy.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
silos like kind of they prey upon that tribalism,
Mm-hmm.
whether that's culturally or within our genders, within our race. They really do just activate the mob mentality
Yeah.
in us. If I had one request for anybody that's listening to this, that's just to maybe examine the silo that you're in. Do you know that you're in a silo? Have you do you understand what silos you're currently in? Do you question the videos that you strongly react to or that you have strong kinship with?
Mm.
Confirmation bias is real, you know? And yeah, I mean, seek wisdom from your community, not just from your media silo.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And one-to-one community, not like, I even think like posting a thing on a Reddit page,
Mm.
maybe cast a line there
Sure.
than just a video appearing to you out of thin air like, oh, well, I saw this thing on. And it
Yeah.
must be true,
Totally. Yeah.
which I feel like most people that are of sound mind and body, like, aren't just gonna, 100% believe whatever.
Sure.
But I think we should have a lot more breaks in terms of like you're going down the hill really fast, pump the brakes
Mm-hmm.
on what you just are like, oh my gosh, like, yes, like it has to be this. This guy has to be, he just doesn't care about me because this, and this.
Sure.
Maybe,
Mm-hmm.
maybe not. Have you
Yeah.
asked him? I don't know. And same thing with guys. Like this girl's this, like she's a this, she's a gold digger, whatever. It's like, is she? Have you asked her? Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah. I think the only way you can really break out of these silos and these algorithms is just, like you said, to just take a break, to just pause, because the algorithm's not going to stop. It's just going to keep feeding it to you over and over. So take a step back, take a day off, touch grass, as the kids say.
Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for sharing your half hour plus with us. We've got some really exciting stuff. We're hoping to bring on guests soon. If you do listen to us bi-weekly, thank you so much. We're so excited for you to be with us on this journey as we continue to grow. Keep learning more about men and women, the space between them, and people, and all the gory guts that is involved in keeping and maintaining a healthy relationship with people, healthy relationship within genders. And we can't wait to be on this journey with you.
Yeah. And we may be opening the line soon.
So stay tuned.
Stay tuned. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Our show is made by us, Chris Dold and Jesse Rojas. Our producer is the lovely Marianne Rojas. Our composer and mixer extraordinaire is Rosalind Wong, and all of our art is carefully handcrafted by Jacob Bankoff. If you haven't already, make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok. You can find us there under @VenusandMarsPod. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts.